Okay, good evening, everyone. I would like to call the council meeting of October 27th, 2025 to order. I will now ask that if you're able to please stand for our national anthem.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command.
Car ton bras s'est porté l'épée, il s'est porté la croix. Ton histoire est une épopée des plus brillants exploits.
God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Okay. I would like to begin tonight's meeting by reading a safety notice. In the event of an emergency, please evacuate council chambers to the nearest exit through the chamber doors and obey all the instructions given. And if assistance is required, please see our clerk, Miss Julie Kirklos. Julie, put up your hand for everyone. For Kathy, we're going to follow Julie if anything happens, God forbid. Once you've evacuated the building, please gather in the front parking lot outside of Town Hall. Also, please ensure you place your cell phones on silent or turn them off. And lastly, the Town of Lincoln Council meetings are posted on the YouTube channel. Closed captioning is available on all our videos by selecting the closed captioning button on the bottom right-hand corner of the video. The Town of Lincoln, being part of Niagara Region, is situated on treaty land. This land is steeped in the rich history of the First Nations, such as the Hattawandurunk, the Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe, including the Mississaugas of the First Credit Nation. There are many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people from across Turtle Island that live and work in Niagara today. The Regional Municipality of Niagara stands with all Indigenous people, past and present, in promoting the wise stewardship of the lands on which we live. Members of council are in attendance this evening with regrets from Mayor Easton, who is in Toronto at Niagara Week. We have staff in attendance this evening. We also have in attendance Kathy Turner from Community Living. Welcome, Kathy. Do members have any amendments to the order of tonight's agenda? Okay, I see none. Are there any declarations of interest? Okay, announcements. So do members have any announcements? Please remember you have a limit of 3 items. Councillor Murray.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor Patriva. I had the opportunity, along with our clerk, to attend AMO's Healthy Democracy Forum earlier this month. It was a really valuable 2 days of sessions that explored how we can strengthen civic engagement and participation in local government. The message throughout was clear. Democracy isn't something that happens every 4 years. It's something we build each day. We talked about the growing challenges of voter apathy and declining participation, with less than 33% turnout in Ontario's last municipal election, and the importance of creating a stronger sense of belonging and connection in our communities. When people feel they have a voice and see themselves reflected in local decision-making, they're far more likely to get involved, whether that's by voting, volunteering, or even running for office. One of the key highlights was AMO's new Healthy Democracy Leadership Series, supporting local leadership in the run-up to the 2026 municipal elections. It's a free online workshop series designed to support both sitting councillors considering re-election and community members who may be thinking about running for the first time. The sessions focus on leadership, resilience, and confidence in what can be a challenging environment, and it's a great tool to help encourage a broader, more diverse pool of local candidates. The overarching theme of the forum was that municipalities play an essential role as allies in the democratic process by helping residents access clear, nonpartisan information, creating opportunities for meaningful participation, and building trust and respect in civic life. I look forward to supporting our clerks department and working with people in our community who want to become more involved, whether that means learning about local government, participating in civic life, or even considering a run for council as we continue to build the tools and engagement strategies that will help us turn up the turnout in 2026. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Murray. Councillor Renchema.
Thank you, Chair Pachariva. Am I on? Yes, okay. I sound really quiet for some reason. A couple of things that I was up to over the last few weeks. October 15th was the Mayor's Gala. I sat with Regional Councillor Foster and his wife Sue, and we talked with representatives from the NPCA at the table, and generally about how tired they are after the wonderful Balls Falls Thanksgiving Festival. Also, the Firefighter Awards, October 17th. I haven't been able to make it out to one of those in a few years, and I was glad I did, because as it turns out, our beloved fire chief's, that's his last event before retiring next year. We had our Ward 1 meeting also, and issues that were brought up, items for discussion were, of course, the appeal for the non-decision of 5025 King Street, Lincoln. And we followed up to people that attended the meeting and gave them some answers to some of their questions. And one of the questions was, what does it mean when there's an appeal of a non-decision? And the answer is that it really makes no difference to the outcome. That was the question. The Ontario Land Tribunal bases its decision solely on the expert evidence and planning merits presented before it. Other items that came up during the meeting were visitor parking requirements under our zoning bylaw, and the current paving of the Ontario Street QEW off-ramp. We provided an update on that. Parking overnight at rental facilities. The question about motorized vehicles on trails and pedestrian bridges, particularly the one on Tamarack Avenue. Questions about establishing a street permit parking system, and questions about the lane on Ontario Street in front of the fire hall that kind of forces people to merge at the last minute, which nobody's happy about. So all in all, it was a good meeting, and I also attended your Ward 2 meeting after that, and I'll let you provide that update. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, thank you very much, Councillor. Councillor Brunet, speaking of our ward meeting.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Seeing that you are my ward mate, but chairing tonight's meeting, I thought I'd take this opportunity, Councillor Pachariva, to thank all the residents who did attend our ward meeting last Thursday, October the 23rd, as well as thank staff, all our directors and CEO Kirkopoulos, as well as the colleagues. We had 3 councillors, Councillor Renchema, Councillor Timmers, and Councillor Michalak joining us that evening. So thank you for your support. And it was greatly attended, probably the best turnout we've ever had, Chair Pachariva. And we want to thank everyone who did come out and shared with us their comments, their concerns. And if there's any follow-up, we will definitely be doing that in the very near future. Thank you very much, Chair Pachariva.
Thank you very much, Councillor Brunet. Councillor Reimer.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I was fortunate enough to participate this past month, October 18th, actually, in Gillian Place annual Walk a Mile. Survive, I guess, is another word I could use. Town of Lincoln was well represented there. Our CAO was there, along with some CLT. Chief Hudson was there, Director Graham, and I think 4 or 5 other staff. They surpassed their fundraising goal of $135,000 and got up to just over $150,000. So that was kind of cool. The MC was our former mayor of St. Catharines, Walter Senzik. He always does an awesome job, and it blends well into the start of our proclamation later on this evening about the Women Abuse Prevention Month. So just want to let everybody know that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Reimer. Councillor Michalak.
Thank you very much. Just a couple things going on this week. This Saturday, November 1st, there's going to be the grand opening of the Shore Rishon Park. At 1 p.m., there's going to be a shuttle bus available. There's not very much parking down below. The shuttle bus starts at 12 p.m. From the Jordan Arena parking lot. Should be a pretty good event. It's a park that's been in the process for a long time now. It's looking pretty exciting. And then one other thing is the Jordan Museum. This Thursday beginning, they're going to have the grand opening of their Walk Through the Grapevine winemaking in Niagara. It's a new museum exhibit that the museum's put together. Looks pretty good. Checked it out after a meeting that we had both Councillor Murray and I, last Thursday. It should be pretty exciting. I'm sure people in this room are going to recognize some faces and some winemaking from the past, and we'll see about the future. So those are my two announcements. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Councillor Michaluk. And for those at home watching this evening, you might be wondering why we're wearing the purple scarves, and we've got these from Jillian's Place. I also have my purple tie on tonight that I got from last year's breakfast, because we've got one proclamation this evening to recognize November 2025 as Women Abuse Prevention Month. I'll now read the following proclamation. Whereas the town of Lincoln recognizes that violence against women and domestic violence continues to be a serious social problem and that no level of violence is acceptable. And whereas violence against women continues to affect the safety, well-being, and dignity of countless women, children, and families in communities all across Ontario. And whereas the elimination of violence against women, girls, and gender-diverse people must be a shared priority for our community and all levels of government, requiring leadership, collaboration, and action. And whereas the town of Lincoln and municipalities across Ontario, along with the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, AMO, have recognized that intimate partner violence is an epidemic that requires urgent, coordinated, and sustained attention. And whereas the town of Lincoln stands in solidarity with survivors and honors their strength, resilience, and courage, recognizing that it takes an entire community, not just the courage of one individual, to end gender-based violence. And whereas the town of Lincoln acknowledges the vital leadership and service of Jillian's Place and other local organizations that empower survivors through shelter, support, advocacy, and education. And whereas Women Abuse Prevention Month is recognized each November across Ontario to raise awareness, promote education, and inspire collective action to end gender-based violence in all its forms. And whereas throughout November, the town of Lincoln proudly supports the Wrapped in Courage campaign, led by the Ontario Association of Interval and Transition Houses, encouraging all residents to wear purple scarves and display the color purple as a visible sign of support for survivors and a commitment to prevention. And whereas everyone in our community has a role to play in promoting respectful relationships, challenging harmful attitudes, and fostering a culture of equality, safety, and compassion. And whereas everyone is encouraged to take action, raise awareness, and work together to build a community where every individual can live free from fear and violence. Now therefore, I, J.D. Pachariva, Deputy Mayor of the Town of Lincoln, do hereby declare November 2025 as Women Abuse Prevention Month. I think it's important to highlight a few meaningful events taking place this month in November that demonstrates our solidarity and support for organizations such as Jillian's Place. I invite you all to attend the Wrapped in Courage Pancake Breakfast at Market Square in St. Catharines next Tuesday, November the 4th, from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. This event launches the local campaign, raising awareness and inspiring collective action towards creating a safer, more inclusive communities for all. In addition, there'll be a new online silent auction, Break the Silence, running from November 3rd to 13th. Funds raised will help support underfunded programs that empower women and help break the cycle of violence and abuse. Please visit Jillian's Place online to learn more and participate. Your attendance and support for these events and campaigns demonstrates our community's leadership in recognizing that courage is contagious and that everyone has a role to play in preventing violence against women and gender-diverse individuals. And Councillor Reimer, I want to applaud you and members of staff for doing the walk a mile in her shoes. I had planned to attend. I'd raised some money, but I had that incident on the Wednesday, and I didn't think that might be good if it happened again, and the focus was on me instead of what the cause was that you're walking for. So thank you for your courage, and thank you to Mr. Kirkopoulos and Mr. Graham and all the staff that were there, because you know what? It shines a light that we all have an important role to play, and it really bothered me that I couldn't be there. So thank you guys for taking up the torch. Appreciate it. Recognition and achievements, we don't have any this evening. So we will now consider item 10.1, and we have Kathy Turner, Executive Director of Community Living Grimsby, Lincoln, and West Lincoln, who's here tonight to provide updates. Welcome, Kathy, and please, when you're ready to go.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me tonight. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. So I just wanted to, I'm Kathy Turner. I'm the Executive Director at Community Living Grimsby, Lincoln, and West Lincoln. We're an agency that offers supports and services to people who live with developmental disabilities. And I wanted to let you know a little bit about us and some of the things that are changing in our landscape that I think that it's worthwhile for everyone to know about. So we currently support 360 individuals across all of our region, which is Grimsby, Lincoln, and West Lincoln. We do that from service navigation to supported living to employment services to independent living, and we provide supports and services as the individual needs them in whatever way they need them. And we also employ nearly 200 staff members at our agency, so making us a significant contributor to the local economy and social capital for the people that we support. Our workforce, I'm proud to say, is deeply committed, and they invest all of their time and their caring to the individuals that we support. This year, to note, is our 60th anniversary year, so we have been having all kinds of celebrations throughout the year, and we will continue to do so until the year is finished. So we have had some invitations to individuals across all regions to be able to come, and so some have come, and Tony Brunet has come to a couple of our events, and we really appreciate everybody's support. So I just wanted to tell you a few things about things that are changing in the sector. So the ministry is exploring a shift in funding, and that is moving the funding that we currently receive as block funding to individuals, which in principle is a wonderful idea. It means that individuals get to receive their funding and make the decisions that they would like to with their funding. In principle, that's a great idea, but what we are worried about in the sector is how some of that will land with regard to quality of supports and services, and we've noticed lots of organizations opening up around the region that hopefully are very well-meaning, but we have no quality control over those. So we're just really hopeful that agencies like ours across the province will be able to continue to be funded in some way so that we can make sure that we are able to provide quality supports. It is also nerve-wracking for us to understand that oftentimes that will mean that individuals who receive supports and funding for those supports themselves may actually see a reduction in numbers of hours that they can provide supports for. So we're just all working with the ministry on that right now, and hopeful that it'll move forward in a very positive way. I also wanted to raise attention to the wait list currently, and that is one of the major province-wide initiatives that we are advocating alongside the Community Living Ontario, and Inclusion Canada is supporting that as well. So currently there are 52,000 people on the wait list for developmental services and supports, and currently just over 38,000 are getting supports. So that means that obviously there are far more need than there is provision of services at this time. In this region alone, I don't know the exact number, but we're looking at about 8,000 people looking for supports and services. That's across the Niagara region. not just Grimsby, Lincoln, and West Lincoln, but the entire Niagara region. So we're looking to raise awareness and advocate on behalf of individuals who are on the wait list currently. You can see the little bit of a difficulty with the adjustment in funding to roll out to individuals when we don't even know how many individuals and where they are and what they need, and how that will translate to us. So I just want to make sure that we're raising that awareness. I also wanted to talk about the fact that because we're a rural region, we don't have transportation. And so at our agency, for example, and this is a comparison to our neighbor agencies who are funded in the same way, but we have need to have a large fleet of vehicles in order to be able to serve the individuals that we support, which is about 35 vehicles, and it's a significant piece of our budget. So it means that it takes away from the services that we are able to offer supports for. So that's just a plug for any transportation that can happen in this region. We would love to see it. Also, accessible housing is a difficult problem for us. So we share with you an example. We are looking for a couple of new locations for individuals who are looking for supports, and we have been searching. I know it's a buyer's market right now, but we were trying to rent, and it has been incredibly difficult to find housing. What we are doing is a major initiative over the next few years where we'll be demolishing a house in Grimsby and rebuilding it so that we can enable a large 5 or 6 new apartments to be built into that building. Now, we are also not looking to segregate and congregate care, so those apartments will not all be for us. We'll be looking to provide affordable housing for others in the community who need it as well. But so we're going to be launching a large capital campaign for that, and it's called the Livingston Project, and so if anybody sees that, that would be great if we can share that message as well. One of the things that's really important to us to raise awareness to also is that developmental disability is a lifespan issue. It starts in childhood and it ends at death. And so oftentimes we find it difficult to advocate at all the different tables. And sometimes, for example, when a person turns 65, some supports end that don't need to end, that shouldn't be ending because an individual doesn't automatically become disabled no longer when they turn 65. So those are some things that wanted to make sure that we raise, and to be invited to tables where all of these issues are discussed. So, for example, we have a staff member who is on the special education advisory committees. We'd like to be at health advisory committees. We'd like to be at aging in place and age-friendly events as well. So just to keep us in mind for that. And another thing is our funding. So while Canadian, not our funding, but the funding that goes to an individual who may live with a developmental disability, so Canada Disability Benefit is a welcomed addition to funding. They get an additional $200 per month, which is fantastic, considering the fact that they all live on ODSP, and rent, being what rent is, they usually end the month or start their month with $149. And so that's an awful lot of living to do in a month for $149. Thankfully, they get the $200 extra dollars, but still $349 for a whole month is very difficult. And so there are some things like the Ontario Drug Benefit Plan that doesn't keep up, and the new Canadian Dental Benefit Plan isn't necessarily available to everyone. So these are just things that we want to make sure that everybody is remembering, that people who live with developmental disabilities and other vulnerabilities do struggle financially as well. So I did also want to say that last year we did have some very good news. We joined a campaign, whereas I just let you know that we're joining the Waiting to Belong campaign, which is the waitlist campaign. Last year we advocated on behalf of what we called Five to Survive, which is what we were asking was a 5% increase in funding. We did end up getting a 3% increase in funding, which is wonderful, and we appreciated it. It was one-time funding, though, and it didn't in any way keep up with inflation. So that was the first increase we'd had in about 15 years. So funding continues to be a difficult thing for agencies like ours. We operate 21 buildings. We have to buy groceries for 64 people. We have fuel for 36 vehicles, insurance and maintenance for 36 vehicles. So these are all things that continue to get more and more expensive, and funding just doesn't come. So despite all of these challenges, we do remain hopeful. We have a lot of change happening at our agency, from leadership restructuring to stepping in on all of these advocacy efforts. So I'm just going to end with a call to action, and that is really just to keep us in mind. Invite us to participate, participate with us, help us make connections that will support some of these issues that we have, and flag us if there's something that we need to know that would help us to serve people better. And with that, I'll just thank you again for your time and your attention and your commitment to building a community where everyone belongs. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Kathy. Do members of council have any questions? And I see a couple, so Councilor Renchema, please start us off.
Thank you, Chair Pachariva. Thank you for your presentation. So I'm hearing that, so advocacy, vehicles, help with transportation, and I was going to say a third thing, I can't remember. Those are a few of the things that you're looking for. Advocacy to help increase the funding that goes out to the individuals, help with transportation in any form that might look like, and to be invited to the table. So my question is about the wait list, the other 8,000 people in Niagara currently serving, 52,000 on the wait list for supports. What do those supports look like? Do they range from housing all the way to what? Yeah.
Sorry. They do range. So when an individual adds themselves to the wait list, and that's through Developmental Services Ontario, they could be asking for a number of services. They could be saying, I need employment help, or I need a place to live, or I need community participation services, and they might ask for all of those things on the same application. Mm-hmm. So our job is to, Developmental Services Ontario would match us with any vacancies that we have in some of those areas, and then we would be able to ensure that we can support that person in this community. We don't have any problems getting people off the wait list, off of the Developmental Services wait list, as long as we have a vacancy. The problem is that we don't have enough funding or enough supports to provide those services for those 8,000 people who are waiting in this region. Mm-hmm. And so we need the ministry to understand that and to help us provide what's needed exactly where we need it.
8,000 people in Niagara. Mm-hmm. On the wait list for everything from, like you said, employment support to housing.
Right to 24/7 housing, yeah.
Do you have any idea how many are looking for housing in that 8,000? Because you wouldn't know, I guess, unless it was, or do you?
The difficult thing is that Developmental Services Ontario doesn't actually provide the data in that way. They know what vacancies we have, and then they match. So we don't actually have a clear picture of who's waiting on the wait list, so that we can even develop our services to help meet those needs. Mm-hmm. So it would be great if they could share with us, here's the picture of what we need in Niagara. Then we, as a Niagara region, which is, by the way, a very strong region from a developmental services perspective also, we meet together, we talk about everything that's required on a regular basis, and we share and support with each other. We would be able to, step in and say who can serve that, but right at this point, we don't have that data broken down to what's needed.
Seems like that would be very helpful.
Would be very helpful.
Yeah. Oh, okay, thank you.
Thank you for the question.
Thank you, Councillor Renchema. Councillor Timmers.
Thank you very much, Councillor Pachariva. Through you to Kathy, thank you very much for being here tonight. So community living has been something that our family was involved in for decades, or my husband's family. We have a sister-in-law who was in a group home for many, many years, and prior to that in an apartment, and was supported always by community living up until she passed away 4 years ago at a very old age for someone with her disability. So my question was around the wait list as well. So I know you're saying numbers across the region. So is this a pool that the list is generated across a region, so whoever comes up on that bit, the master list, would move into Grimsby, Lincoln, West Lincoln? Or do you have your community lists as well? I'm just wondering.
We
how
don't
you-
have a community list as
No.
well. It all comes from Developmental Services Ontario. That
Okay.
is the only way that a person can qualify for
Okay.
supports. And they actually ask for consent to share with an individual's profile with where they'd like to go. So oftentimes, someone might live, say, up north, but have family in the Niagara region. They might want to come here. They don't live here now.
Okay, I get it. I think, I don't know if quite a few, I'm thinking 30 years ago it was a little bit different.
Yeah.
Right. So, so that's a mass, that's like overwhelming.
Yeah.
You know, and when you look at long-term care, the numbers are just staggering, and, you know, the same situation for Niagara Regional Housing, same situation. So how many spots do you actually have within our core area, Lincoln, West Lincoln, Grimsby? Like, how many places do you have for individual,
Currently vacant.
just in total?
In total, about 360. That's how
360.
how many targets we can serve at this point, which is, I
Okay.
hate to call it targets, but that's what it's called when
I
we,
think that's what I was looking for.
Spots,
And
yeah.
what kind of wait time would someone have when you're looking at?
it's a very good question. And
Right.
again, it's, since we don't know the data, we actually don't know who's
Right.
waiting and for how long. But that's why the advocacy efforts are coming up now. And I have a sense that we'll start to get more clear data now because the advocacy efforts are demonstrating that there are more people waiting on a wait list than who are currently served.
Right.
So I'm sure we'll start to see some of those pictures hopefully in the near future.
Sounds very daunting when you look at those big numbers.
Yeah.
You know, families that need support, because it is a huge support to the entire family, not just the individuals, but the entire family as well.
Absolutely.
So thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Timmers. Councillor Brunei?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I don't have a question, but I just want to make a couple of comments. Thank you, Kathy, for being here this evening to come to council. I know I've had the opportunity to come out to a number of your events over the last few years, and most recently, I attended your volunteer barbecue and the recognition to celebrate your 60th anniversary, which was at the Beamsville Legion earlier this summer. So I got an opportunity to see firsthand the work of your volunteers and your dedicated board members. So congratulations on your 60th anniversary. And I'm glad that you're here tonight to talk about advocacy, all the challenges that you meet. Good to hear that you've got some increased funding, but there's still much work to do. So hopefully our staff, our CAO can continue to help you with that as we move forward. So thank you for being here this evening.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councillor Brunei. And Kathy, I'm Grants Committee Chair for an organization called the Wise Guys. We actually had our meeting this afternoon to look at our grants. Our closing date was October the 1st, so it won't help this year, but I mean, we get grants from Port Colborne Wainfleet all the time, and I've never seen a grant from Grimsby, West Lincoln, and Lincoln. So I encourage you to go on there, wiseguys.charity.com. Closing date's October the 1st of 2026, and maybe
We'll
we can help
definitely
you
be
with some of your
applying.
shortfall, right?
Thank
Put
you.
some of these groups together, like you said, the affordable housing and shelter for some of your targets. So,
Thank you.
okay?
Thank you very
I want to
much.
see an application in there.
You
so
will see one.
Thank you very
For sure.
much.
Thank you.
Okay, there being no further questions, I have a motion moved by Councillor Brunei and seconded by Councillor Murray. The council receive and file as information the following delegation regarding community living updates. Kathy Turner, Executive Director. I will now ask our clerk to open the vote.
Thanks, Deputy Mayor, and the vote is now open. I'll close that vote, and that carries. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Julie. Thank you, Kathy. We will now consider item 10.2, Regional Councillor Update. Councillor Foster is not in attendance, but has provided a report for us. I have a motion moved by Councillor Rinchema and seconded by Councillor Timmers that council receive and file for information the update from Regional Councillor Foster. I will now ask our clerk to open the vote.
Thanks, Deputy Mayor, and the vote is now open. I'll close that vote. That carries, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Julie. So, items for consideration, we have none this evening. We are now considering item 12.1, council minutes of September 22nd, 2025. Do members of council have any questions? Okay, I have a motion moved by Councillor Reimer and seconded by Councillor Russell that council approve the minutes of the following meetings of council minutes of September 22nd, 2025. I will now ask our clerk to open the vote.
Thank you. The vote is now open. Close that vote. That carries.
Okay, thank you, Julie. Recommendations from standing committees. So we'll now consider the following: Budget Committee minutes of September 29th, 2025, and Committee of the Whole minutes of October 6th, 2025. Sorry about that. Do members of council have any questions? I see none. I have a motion moved by Councillor Michalak and seconded by Councillor Murray. The council approved the following recommendations from standing committees: Budget Committee minutes of September 29, 2025, and Committee of the Whole minutes of October the 6th, 2025. I will now ask our clerk to open the vote.
The vote is open. And I will close that vote. That carries.
Okay, thank you, Julie. Notice of motion, we have none this evening. Reports of municipal officers, we have none this evening. Motion to consider confidential matters. We have no confidential matters this evening to discuss. Motion to approve bylaws. We have 4 bylaws for consideration today. Do members have any questions? Okay. I have a motion moved by Councillor Timmers and seconded by Councillor Rinchema that leave be given to approve the following bylaws. 2025-50, a bylaw to manage and regulate election signs in the town of Lincoln, and to repeal bylaw 2022-28. 2025-51, a bylaw to establish a committee of adjustment for the town of Lincoln and to prescribe a terms of reference for the governing the committee of adjustment, and to repeal bylaw 2021-21. 2025-52, a bylaw to designate the property known municipally as 2944 21st Street in the town of Lincoln as being of cultural heritage value or interest pursuant to the Ontario Heritage Act, RSO 1990, Chapter 0.18. 2025-53, bylaw to designate the property known municipally as 4235 Queen Street in the town of Lincoln as being of cultural heritage value or interest pursuant to the Ontario Heritage Act, RSO 1990, Chapter 0.18. I will now ask our clerk to open the vote.
Thanks, Deputy Mayor. The vote is now open. And I will close that vote. And that carries. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Julie. Motion to confirm proceedings of the council meeting this evening. So we will now confirm the proceedings of tonight's meeting. I have a motion moved by Councillor Murray and seconded by Councillor Reimer that leave be given to introduce bylaw number 2025-54, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at this meeting held Monday, October 27, 2025, being read a first, second, and third time, and that bylaw number 2025-54 be enacted and passed, and that the deputy mayor and clerk sign and seal the said bylaw. I will now ask our clerk to open the vote.
Thanks, Deputy Mayor. The vote is open. Close that vote. That carries.
Okay. Thank you very much, Julie. Before we motion to adjourn tonight's meeting, do members have any comments?
Councillor Russell. Thank you, Deputy Mayor, or Vice Deputy Mayor Patriva. This is Jermaine. I was hoping to ask Regional Councillor Foster for an update, but as he was not here, I did reach out to Director Dave Graham to see if he can give an update on the foul odor that's emanating, or we're getting reports of it emanating on the South Service Road near the highway. I'm wondering if you can just give an update based on his working with the region, just so for those who are interested in and have raised concerns and complaints, have an idea of where the resolution will eventually land.
Thank you, Councillor Russell, and through you, Mr. Chair. So just an update on the odor concern that we've been dealing with. We've been working with the region. So this, just for some quick background, this pertains to the region's sanitary sewer force main infrastructure that pumps wastewater from the Jordan Vineland area along the South Service Road from Victoria Avenue into Beansville, which then outlets around the Bartlett Road area on the South Service Road near the MTO car pool parking lot. So as an update in response to the odor concerns, the region has implemented some mitigation measures by installing carbon filters on air release valves along the sanitary sewer force main along the service road to help improve with odor management. Also, the region is currently investigating the odor concerns more on the Beansville end along the South Service Road, kind of near Bartlett Road and the MTO car pool parking lot, to try and figure out what else is going on. The odors are more frequent than we want to, have them. So they are actively looking into that. They're also looking into their odor control management system in this area of the town. Just also to the town and the region as an update, we have engaged with the Ministry of Environment to also get their help with any inspections to see if there's any wastewater discharges from properties in the area that could be aggravating this situation. So that is happening and ongoing as well. We as a town, we've inspected all of our sewers and flushed our sewers under our responsibility that kind of connect to the regional system in this area, just to make sure they're clean and flowing property. So we've done that and doing that. So basically in a nutshell, the situation is a priority and is actively being investigated right now to try and address the situation. So.
Thank you for that, Director Graham. Through you, Vice Deputy Mayor, I'm messing it up. Again, is there any, scheduled follow-up from the region on this issue as far as either updates on a regular basis or, a final outcome that we can expect to communicate to our residents?
Through you, Mr. Chair, to the councillor. So we are actively in communication with the region. So, they want to get this addressed, and they're basically, still trying to figure out where some of the issues may be coming from. So I don't have an exact timeline, but we definitely will be communicating with council as more information becomes available. That's really all I have to offer at the moment.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Russell. Councillor McLuck.
Thank you very much. Through you to staff. Last week in the local paper, there was a public notice regarding a hearing with the OLT regarding the ward boundary review. It was quite a significant 4.5 pages. It was very significant. And I'm sure anybody that picked up the paper would have read about it. And the hearing was scheduled for November the 20th. I'm sure those of us here know what's going on with that review. But for those that may not know, that may be watching, is it possible to get an update to share with the general public?
Thanks. Through the Deputy Mayor to the Councillor. You are correct, Councillor. An appeal was withdrawn by the appellant on October 22nd. The OLT has considered this file closed, and the town will move forward in making those ward boundary changes and make sure they're reflected for the upcoming 2026 municipal election. Unfortunately, by the time we found out about the withdrawn notice, we had gone to print, and so that was already scheduled, and we had contacted the paper, but it was too late by then. And so what the town has done is provided a public announcement, posted it on our website, and the communications department has a scheduled notice to come forward again to ensure that that is also circulated in newsprint articles to ensure that the public is aware. And so there is going to be social media channels and we'll ask that those who can share it on your own channels to please do so as much as possible.
Perfect. Thank you.
Councillor Bernay, go ahead. Sorry.
Thank you, Vice Chair Pachariva. Through you, I was wondering if I could ask a couple of questions of staff. First to Director Bruder, if I could.
Yeah, go ahead.
Through you, Chair, to Director Bruder. Matt, at our ward meeting last week, one of the questions that was asked, and we hear it quite often when we have an application in front of us, with regards to parking, and I know we're always trying to, get the largest amount of ratio of parking, but one of the questions that was asked at our ward meeting was, has the town of Lincoln undertaken a parking study with regards to parking across Lincoln? And I'm wondering if you could respond to that question so we have it on the public record.
Certainly, Councillor, and through the chair to you. Yeah, that's one of those things that we're definitely cognizant of moving forward. As a matter of fact, it's been on staff's radar for quite some time. We haven't done a town-wide specific parking study for at least the tenure that I've been here, and I think before that as well. We did some limited parking analyses downtown Beamsville years ago in the old fairgrounds area, but never town-wide. When we updated rather the town zoning bylaw, we did look at general best practices, looking at trends, working with the consultant we had of the day who was also familiar with establishing parking standards specifically for municipalities our size. But in terms of ground truthing it, that is something that staff would like to do at some point in the future, hopefully sooner than later, but we haven't done one to date.
Thank you for that, Matt. And obviously, it won't be in this year's budget, but maybe it's something that we can talk about in 2026 as we move forward. So thank you for that response. And through you, Chair, I'm wondering if I could just ask Director Graham a question. We've had a number of questions recently about the CN crossing at the CN grade crossing at Ontario Street. And I'm wondering, Director Graham, if there's any announcement on any discussion or feedback through CN Rail?
Through Mr. Chair to the councillor, as an update, we have contacted CN Rail regarding the grade crossing on Ontario Street, the condition of it. We have received complaints about the roughness of it. So CN has agreed to assess it. We've even asked to have a site inspection out there with them to meet on site, which they've agreed to. And we'd also like to involve the Niagara region as well, being the road authority. So I don't really have an update on CN's position, but they've definitely agreed to assess it and meet on site to discuss it further.
That's great. I appreciate that, Director Graham, and advocating for the town of Lincoln through the region and CN. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Bernay. Councillor Renchema.
Thank you, Chair Pachariva, and I have a question for our acting CAO as the Director of Planning. And it's something that came up at our ward meeting, annual ward meeting, and that's regarding the appeal of 5205 King by the developer for a non-decision. So it came up at your ward meeting, Deputy Vice Chair Mayor Pachariva, that it's possible to register as a participant in the OLT hearing And I mean, it came up because the question was, can we participate? And the answer, that was one question. Another question was, are these hearings ever held in the town of Lincoln? And the answer was yes, at one time, when the Shire application, which was for biosolids, which we all remember, was appealed. There were quite a number of people that registered as a participant, and I think that you might have said that that was at least a factor in the decision of having it in the town of Lincoln, held here in the council chambers. So I'm wondering if you can speak to that, please, and if that is a possibility to register as a participant for people in the community, how would they go about doing that? Thank you.
Through you, Chair, to the councillor. Yeah, I think, first of all, it is a potential determining factor on where the hearing is held. I think, you know, the tribunal generally likes to hold these types of hearings close, especially when they're going to have a large amount of participants. Typically, the rules are to request party or participant status. Whoever's requesting that status had to have been involved in the process, so they submitted written comments, they spoke at the public meeting, they otherwise engaged with staff in those particular venues. So that is one of the criteria that the tribunal will apply when they look to award party or participant status, and those are two different things. You know, there's an opportunity if one is so inclined to become directly involved in terms of providing their own evidence. Usually in that case, it requires a little bit of work, probably with their own legal counsel, perhaps even planning, but you can also just be there and attend and be present as well. The Ontario Land Tribunal website has instructions on how to request those. Typically, you can do it a couple of different ways. There is an online intake, and again, I think what came out of the ward meeting loud and clear is that our residents want to hear on how to do that, so we're going to follow up with some additional communications. But the other way to do it as well is you can reach out directly to the individual that's responsible for managing the case at the tribunal. We did circulate that information, and just as a quick update, there isn't any hearing or anything scheduled, but the Ontario Land Tribunal has confirmed receipt of the appeal, and they have assigned a case number. So we expect some more communications to come from them shortly. But I guess the long and short of it is, there is instruction on how to apply on the Ontario Land Tribunal website, but we will be following up to provide additional information. And if anybody wants to directly inquire with myself or planning staff, we can instruct them on how to, and walk them through the process as well.
Okay, so can I ask that that information be sent out to me and the other members of council?
Through you, Mr. Chair, absolutely, Councillor.
Thank you, and thank you, Chair.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Renchma. Yeah, that came out loud and clear at our meeting, and I understand your meeting as well, is that, you know, residents want the opportunity to do this, and I would encourage staff to provide it. Matt, through you, through the comms department, like, rather than us having to look for it on Town's Posting, that it be sent directly to us, and we can post it all on our socials. And you know, you made that pledge Thursday night, and I'm sure the previous Thursday, to help our residents with that, so I appreciate that. And again, you know, Councilor Brunet made mention of it earlier, and I just wanted to thank all of the residents who attended our ward meeting last week, and also our fellow councilors. Thank you for coming. Thank you for your support. And I got an email today, not an email, actually, a request on my Facebook that I will synthesize the questions that came up. Hopefully, Councilor Renchma, I can be as succinct as you are with yours, so maybe you can give me a little lesson on that. So I have a motion moved by Councilor Russell and seconded by Councilor Michaluk that the council meeting on October 27, 2025 be adjourned at 18:53. I will now ask our clerk to open the vote.
Thank you. Vote is open. And that carries. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much, Julie. Thank you, everyone. This concludes our council meeting for this evening. Go Jays, go.